Colligative properties. Um, these are the properties of the solutions that depend upon the concentration of solute particles but not on the identity of the particles, which means what matters is how much solute is there, and it does not matter what kind of solute is that. The identity, whether it is salt or whether it is glucose or sugar or alcohol, it does not matter. What matters is how many moles of the solute you are adding. We're going to discuss 4 colligative properties: vapor pressure lowering, freezing point depression, boiling point elevation, and osmotic pressure. Your next lab is on freezing point depression. For this section, we're going to consider only non-electrolyte, non-volatile solutes. Non-electrolyte means they are not breaking down to form the ions in the solution, and non-volatile means they cannot be vaporized easily. So let's look at the first colligative property, the vapor pressure lowering. Now, the physical properties of the liquid depends on the strength of the intermolecular force, and a molecule on the surface of a liquid with sufficient energy to overcome the attractive forces can escape to the gas phase. So that means if a solution has lower vapor pressure, that happens when the solvent has a higher vapor pressure. So let me explain the last part again. So if you have, let's say, these solvent particles and you are providing the heat, and by providing the heat, what happens? They are changing into the vapor form. If the molecules have weak intermolecular forces, that means it will be easy to convert these into the vapor form. So that means we can say that here the vapor pressure will be high. Now, let's say what we are doing in this, here let's say we have a pure solvent, and I can take the example of let's say methanol. It is just methanol, pure solvent. What I did here, I added solute particles. Let me pick a different color. Solute particles, glucose. So when I'm adding these glucose here, now what's going to happen? These glucose particles are also creating intermolecular forces with the solvent, and what it does is it lowers down the vapor pressure of the pure solvent because of the newly formed these intermolecular forces. And that is why the vapor pressure of the solution is less than the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. So if it is pure, we denote it by this not sign. So what is Raoult's law? Raoult's law states that the vapor pressure of a volatile component of a solution. Volatile component means you are adding you're talking about a volatile solvent. So the vapor pressure of a volatile component of a solution, which is a solvent, is equal to the mole fraction of the solvent times the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. So again, in this case, if let's say we are talking about the pure solvent as let's say I have methanol, then it has some vapor pressure, that is the pure. and then what I did, I added some solute glucose. Now it is a solution, and then there is a vapor pressure of the solution, that is this. Basically, when we are talking about the vapor pressure of the solution, we are basically talking about the vapor pressure of methanol in solution, because glucose is non-volatile. And what is that vapor pressure of the volatile component of a solution is equal to the mole fraction of the solvent times the vapor pressure of a pure solvent. The solutions that follow this law, Raoult's law, are called ideal solutions. And when we are talking about ideal solutions, we are saying the intermolecular forces between any two particles, which means the attraction between solute and solvent particles are equal in strength to the attraction between the solvent particles. What if the solute solvent attraction is stronger than the solvent solvent attraction? In that case, the solution, or I should say the vapor pressure of the solvent in the solution will be lower. Why? Because not a lot of solvent particles are getting vaporized. If solute solvent attraction will be weaker than the solvent solvent attraction, then it's going to have the vapor pressure of the solvent in the solution will be higher, as predicted by higher compared to as predicted by Raoult's law. Look at this question. The vapor pressure of ethyl alcohol is 58.7 torr. Calculate the vapor pressure of the ethanol in solution at 25 degrees Celsius if 0.175 moles of glucose is dissolved in 0.909 moles of alcohol. So you can see the solution is made up of alcohol and glucose. Alcohol is your solvent, glucose is your solute. The Raoult's law is vapor pressure of the solvent in solution is equal to the mole fraction of the solvent and times vapor pressure of the pure solvent. So here this P naught, the pure vapor pressure of ethyl alcohol, just the solvent is given. Your P naught Z is 58.7. You have to calculate the mole fraction of the solvent, which is mole fraction of alcohol. What will be that? Moles of alcohol divided by total moles. I'm given moles of alcohol, and by adding these two numbers, I can find out the moles, total moles. And if you're going to calculate this here mole fraction, this should come out 0.837. When you're going to divide 0.909 by total, your total is 1.084, so it should come out 0.837. Now I know my P naught Z, which is 58.7. I know mole fraction, that means I can calculate PZ. The answer for this question should be 49.2 torr. And you can see here the vapor pressure of the pure solvent was 58.7. So when you added the solute, what did it do? It lowered down the vapor pressure of the solvent in the solution. Next question, example 9 is very similar. Calculate the total pressure of benzene and toluene over a solution consisting of 0.661 moles of benzene and 0.227 moles of toluene. Their vapor pressure when they are pure are given. So the question is total pressure. First, you can calculate vapor pressure due to benzene, which is going to be mole fraction of benzene times vapor pressure of pure benzene. Do I know the vapor pressure of pure benzene? Yes. Can I find out the mole fraction of benzene? Yes. I can take the moles of benzene here and divide by the total moles. Similarly, next I will find the vapor pressure of toluene in the solution by mole fraction of toluene times pure vapor pressure of toluene. I am given pure vapor pressure here. Mole fraction of toluene, if you want, you can take the moles of toluene divided by the total, or you can do one thing. You know the mole fraction of benzene, and we know the mole fraction of benzene plus mole fraction of toluene will be 1. So if you know mole fraction of benzene, all you have to do is to subtract it from 1. So once you have pressure for toluene, you're going to calculate total pressure simply by adding these two, benzene plus toluene. And for this question, your answer after adding everything, your final answer should be 77.8 torr. That should be your final answer after adding these two pressures. The next colligative property, the next two colligative properties that we're going to discuss are the freezing point depression and boiling point elevation. Now, addition of a solute to a solvent will cause the freezing point of the solution to be lowered compared to the pure solvent. And why is that? Because for a liquid to become a solid, the randomly ordered molecules in the liquid phase must form an orderly array in the solid phase. And when you're adding the solute particles, they are interfering with the process of making that ordered structures, and thereby preventing freezing at the liquid's normal freezing point temperature. So again, when you have, for example, water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius, but if you're going to add some impurity into the water, it's not going to freeze at 0 degrees Celsius anymore. It's going to freeze at the lower freezing point than 0 degree, lower temperature than 0 degree. In the case of boiling point, as we see the word elevation, by adding the solute particles, you elevate the boiling point of the solvent. And it should be obvious, because if we are lowering down the vapor pressure, that means we are that means the boiling point of the solution will be higher. So again, example, let's say the water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, but if you will add some impurities or solute particles, then what's going to happen? It's not going to boil at 100 degrees Celsius. In fact, it's going to boil at the higher temperature, 102, 104, and so on. For freezing point depression, basically, how much was the temperature in the starting of the pure solvent and how much is after the solute was added. We calculate the temperature of the solution is equal to the temperature of solvent minus delta TF. And how do you calculate delta TF? You do it by the formula Kf times m, where Kf is the freezing point depression and m is the molality. Similarly, for boiling point, you have T solution equals T solvent plus delta TB, and delta TB is Kb times m. This Kf and Kb are the constants, and the values will be given to you. So let's look at this example. Calculate the freezing point of a solution containing 0.135 moles of a non-electrolyte solute in 2.50 kilogram of the benzene. Now I have to calculate the freezing point of the solution. That means I have to calculate T solution. To calculate T solution, what do I need? I need the freezing point of the solvent, and then I need to find delta TF. What is delta TF? It is Kf times molality. This Kf value will be given to you, which is 5.12 degrees Celsius over molal, and molality is moles of the solute, which is 0.135 divided by the mass of the solvent in kilograms, and it is already given to you in kilograms. With this, you can find out delta TF, which will be 0.276 degrees Celsius. And now you can calculate T solution. T solvent, the temperature of the solvent is 5.5 degrees Celsius, which will again be provided to you, and then minus 0.276, so that is going to be 5.2 degree Celsius.